Today, we're going to talk about 9 specific financial goals you want to achieve by the time you're 45. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anna, and here we talk about money and health. And if you've seen the above video, then you'll see some similar concepts with updated figures and some concepts that are new and specific to age 45. If these topics are things you'd like to learn more about, I'd appreciate if you hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's get started. The first financial goal is to define your ideal retirement lifestyle and the timeline in getting there. If you're married, sit down and discuss this together with your spouse. Write it down and maybe put it up on a vision board. When you put the ideal scenario on paper, you can have a clear sense of what you want to achieve jointly with your partner in life. This will help you achieve your target now that your target is more clearly defined. By this time, most of us have hopefully focused less on impressing others and learned what is actually important to us, whether that means traveling, being close to family, and/or maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Now that you've figured out what is important to you, it's easier to say no to things that don't make you happy and taking the extra money to invest in things that do so that you can more quickly reach your financial goals. The second financial goal is to clear out your debt. If you have a mortgage, have a plan to have this paid off hopefully by the time you're 50, but no later than 55. At this point, you may be a manager or otherwise be considered an expert in your field, and you may gain increasing responsibilities at work. And if you have kids, you may start seeing what sports your kids are excelling at, and those extracurricular activities may require additional investments of time and money, whether it's through travel teams or club. You may have aging parents that start depending on you more, whether that's financially or physically. All this takes time and energy, so you don't want to have the added stress of having large financial burdens to weigh you down. The third financial goal is to have a good understanding of how much money you spend each year. If you don't know where to start, I recommend you watch this video above after watching the rest of this video to help you get started. This will help provide you data points for achieving the other financial goals, including number 4, have an emergency fund. This is for the bumps in the road, the unexpected layoff or medical bill, the sudden travel plans for someone's wedding, or the car that breaks down that will need to be funded. I recommend somewhere between 3 to 6 months of expenses. If you want to see how your Roth IRA accounts can count towards being part of your emergency fund, check out my video on savings allocation for beginners. The next financial goal is to make sure you have at least 8 times the total annual expenses in your investment accounts. This is where you will have achieved what is called F.I.R.E. And for those not familiar with this term, let's start with the understanding of FIRE, which stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. This number is often calculated to say that if you have somewhere between 25 to 33 times what you spend annually, you will have enough to retire. For simple math, let's go with something in the middle at 30x. So if you look at how much you spend each year, which say that figure is $100,000 per year, then that means that you will need $3 million in your investment accounts to retire. But an offshoot of that concept is F.I.R.E, which says that as a household that spends $100,000 per year, if you reach somewhere between $800,000 to say $1 million in your investment accounts, then this is not when you could retire, but if needed, you could stop putting additional money away into your retirement accounts and focus on earning just enough to cover your expenses each year. The idea is that the retirement accounts that you keep wisely invested will grow over the years to a nice nest egg that most people can retire to. The average stock rate of return is about 10% year to year, but let's go with 8 to 9% to be conservative. So $800,000 that is left untouched but well invested over 20 years, compounded annually at 8%, will grow to $3.7 million. And if compounding at 9%, it will grow to almost $4.5 million over that period of time. Now, I'm not encouraging you to stop putting money away if you reach this. There are a lot of moving parts, rates of return, inflation, and unexpected expenses that may arise over time. But it's good to have benchmarks, and will give you an idea of whether this is the time to start thinking about and giving you the confidence to consider another career that you might be more interested in. It will allow you the freedom to earn less while exploring other priorities and interests. To learn more about this, you can check out my video, link provided above, and in the description section below. The next financial goal is to prioritize retirement over children's education, especially if you're not at least at the F.I.R.E stage at this point. I say this as a parent who sees her kids as her number one priority. At this stage, we are at the start of our peak earning years, but also with peak responsibilities. And so this is a critical time to catch up on building up that nest egg for our ideal retirement lifestyle if we're behind before it's too late. This is where we need to prepare for the unexpected early retirement, whether it is from a sudden job loss, injury, or illness that prevents us from working. This may even be a time where we are nearing mandatory retirement age, which for some companies can be as early as 55, including certain Big Four accounting firms and other companies hiring for professional roles. Whereas your kids, they can get educational loans if needed. And one of the best things you can do when they're in high school is to guide them in understanding how to make the best decisions on education and have a sense of what is affordable and sensible based on their job prospects and other individual factors so that they aren't saddled with an overwhelming future of student loan debt payments from higher education. And the good news is, if you later find yourself in a position that you can help them out in paying their student loans, you can. What would be harder to stomach would be not being financially responsible and taking care of yourself first when prioritizing your kids' education, and then finding yourself financially struggling, burdening your children with helping you through retirement. The next financial goal is to maintain a solid workout regimen. Target working out at least 150 minutes per week with at least 75 minutes of vigorous exercise. This may not seem like a financial goal, but it is. As we enter our mid-40s, some of us are probably really feeling our middle-agedness. At this point, hopefully, women have had their annual breast cancer screenings, and at age 45, if you haven't had a mammogram, it's time to get one every year. Also, specifically at age 45, it's time for both men and women to get that colon cancer screening. In the US, excluding skin cancers, colon cancer is the third leading cause of cancer-related deaths and also one of the most preventable with regular screenings and other health behaviors. Our focus should be to prioritize health to increase our healthy lifespan. If you haven't had these cancer screenings, feel free to pause the video now and book those appointments and then come right back for the next key tips. The next goal is to make an effort to keep your social life with your friends, and not just your work friends, not your kids' friends' parents, but your friends. Some of you may have found that you've lost touch with the people you used to be close with. It is in our mid-40s where we see a sudden spike in loneliness. According to a survey by our foundation, the people who struggle the most are those with low income, in other words, annual incomes of less than $25,000 per year. They're especially vulnerable, with nearly half of those individuals at 45 years or older suffering from social isolation and loneliness. There may be some people that are better not to have in your life, and you've made that as a conscious decision, but I'm talking about the other supportive friends. And I don't mean social media or texting either, but rather face-to-face bonding, whether over sport or a meal, maybe a vacation trip together among couples and or families. In the busyness, we focus on promotions at work and maximizing earning potential in our peak years, but we tend to neglect our need for a support system when things get tough. According to Canadian Mental Health Association, social connection can lower anxiety and depression and help regulate our emotions, leading to higher self-esteem and empathy, and can actually improve our immune systems and decrease mortality. By neglecting our need to connect, we put our health at risk. So if you haven't already, start making plans with your friends. Reach out, as they may need you as much as you need them in reestablishing social connections. I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos, but one of the top regrets of the dying is that they do not stay in touch with their friends. Don't have this regret. Stay in touch. The next financial goal, if you haven't already, is to have your estate plan and life insurance in place. This is especially important if you have family members that are dependent on you. You'll want to make sure that your family members are taken care of should something unfortunate happen to you early. Plan ahead and meet with a reputable estate planning attorney for your estate plan and review your insurance needs in getting your life insurance in place. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in my next video.